those are knowledge and things God wants us to learn. Are you listening to me? And then God is going to give us, when He directs our path, divine relationship, right? And then also divine location, which is also the environment, okay? So these are the fundamentals of the future that you imagine, that you desire. The fundamentals of the future that you desire are the kind of thought you are thinking, the kind of relationship you established, and the kind of environment that you find yourself, a location that you find yourself. I'm going to say it again. I will say it in a different way. Your future that the future you imagine, the future that you're going to, is defined by principles that you uphold in your brain, in your heart, in your mind. The way you think, right? This is the fundamental. This is the fundamental, which is the foundation of a system of belief that create that future that you are going to. The foundation of a system of belief that create the future that you desire. First, one of those things is the principle that you live by. Your future is not different from your principle. Your principle is the foundation of your future. Do you understand? Your future is not different from the principle that you are living by. The principle you live by is the foundation of the future that you are going to. Okay? That's why God is saying, associate yourself with thought, which is what? Principles that describe the image of the future you desire. The kind of thought that I associate myself with is the future that I will get. Hello? The kind of future that I associate myself with is the future that I will get. Do you understand that? The kind of relationship that I associate myself with describe the future that I'm heading to. The kind of relationship that I associate myself with describe the future that I'm going to. Do you guys need an example of that? Is that clear? That the relationship that you associate yourself to is what describes the future that you. Have you ever heard the saying, show me your friend and I will know who you are? That's one saying. And there's another saying that for every 5 people you find yourself, for every 5 people that are in your circle, you are like average of those 5 people. Do you understand? Because for the fact that I want you to understand it very well. These things are really very, very practical. Let me tell you this. Every 5 people you find yourself, you're an average of those 5 people, which means your thought level, your level of intelligence, and everything is also equal to those people. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why you find yourself in the midst of those 5 people, because it's like that's your level. Do you understand? That's your level. That's a reflection of how you portray yourself, and the way you portray yourself is the way you think and the principle you operate. Do you understand? That's what attracts you to those 5 people around you. Do you understand what I'm saying? But somebody will say, what if I don't have 5 people around me that surrounds me? Or we're talking about relationship. If you are in a relationship or you are married, the kind of person you marry, what attracted you to that person, it shows something about who you are yourself and where you are going to yourself. Do you understand what I'm saying? Relationship-wise. So God knows that relationship, it's a fundamental to the future that you're going to. That's why He said, associate yourself with thought, relationship, and the environment that describes the image of the future that you desire. Now you still desire the future. It's not there yet, right? But now, how do you get to that future? He gave you three things to associate with that will take you to the future you desire: your principles, how you think, relationship that you establish, and the environment you find yourself, location, the environment you consciously decide that this is where I'm going to stay. If you are in an environment that does not describe the image of the future you desire, what does that tell you? If you are in an environment that does not describe the image of the future you desire, what does that environment tell you? That's not the environment for you. You have to relocate yourself and go and find the environment that will describe the image of the future you desire. Because, listen, look at it from this way. Principle. Where will a fish survive? A dry place. Where will a fish survive? In the water. If you put a fish in an environment that has no water, what are you trying to do to the life of that fish? That fish, does it have a future? You killed the future. You killed the fish already. If you kill the fish already, it has no future. The same thing, if you find yourself in an environment that does not support your future, that environment is what? It's going to kill that future. It does not sustain you. That environment does not sustain the desired future you're going to. Why would you be there? It will kill the future. Do you know how many people's future has been destroyed because they live in the wrong environment? You know how many people have been shot dead because they live in the wrong environment? Do you know how many people have become a drug addict because they live in the wrong environment? Do you know how many people have become a prostitute because they live in the wrong environment? Do you know how many people have become a shoplifter because they live in the wrong environment? The power of environment. The power of environment. God knows in order to get to the future you desire, it's still a desire, right? Hello? You need to get your thoughts right, you need to get your relationship right, and you need to get your environment right before you can get to that future that you desire. Don't play. Don't play. God is not trying to deceive us or trying to just make us feel a kind of way. He will tell us the truth. He will tell us the truth. There are some plants that will not survive a kind of environment. There are some plants and some trees that you will never find in a kind of location because the climate is not made for those kind of plants. So there's no way they're going to survive that environment. Those are principles. And God is showing us this principle that you have to understand this. You already have the future that you are imagining and what you desire. But you must do one thing. Make sure your thought, relationship, and environment aligns with that future that you desire. Why do you think every time, have you watched this reality show, especially The Voice and American Idol? What do you hear? Majority of the young people that really want to sing country music, where did they say they relocate to? Nashville, the home of country music, right? Because they will say, I just packed my stuff and I went to Nashville. Those who want to go into movies industry, where do they normally relocate to? Hollywood. Because they understand that I can't be in Las Cruces and I say I want to be in Hollywood. There's nobody's going to recruit me there. They don't even have recruiters for movie there. That's not the environment for the future that I desire. And you see people say, I don't have anything. I just parked my stuff in my car and I went to Las Vegas and I went to Hollywood because I just know that movie is what I want to do. Movies not what I want to do. A neighbor was telling me he works in a company that does fracking. You know what a fracking is? If you want to like drill oil, so they have to use some big equipment and kind of dredge into the soil and begin to like what I use the use an explosion, right? To break the soil in pieces so to be able to get into. And he said some of the times when they do those things, it causes an earthquake, right? But they say they have they pay them a lot of money. A lot of money. So guess what people do? People that want to work there, guess what they do? They say they don't have houses there. They have only hotels there, in that fracking environment. So those guys will come with all their stuff and put their stuff in the car and come there and be living in their car until they get employed. Until they get employed. They will just be living in their car, going to the place and to the site and see if they're going to employ them. They will stay there. If you want to do fracking and want to work for the oil company, are you going to stay here in El Paso? And the guy said when he came here, majority of them, they have to go to Odessa and all. That's where they are doing the drilling. El Paso doesn't have anything. So they said El Paso is good to live, but there's no work in El Paso, so they go to this area. So he goes every 2 weeks and come back. He goes every 2 weeks. If you want to be a teacher, then El Paso is good for you. See, Canutillo districts, Canutillo School District, El Paso District, Socorro, those are teaching jobs are a lot. But if you want to do some other jobs, you have to find that environment that supports that thing that you want to do. The environment that supports the image of the future you have. You have to find that environment. Do you understand what I'm saying? Remember, it's the image of the future you desire. If you desire, you find the environment that fits into it. Okay? Not only environment, relationship. The people you're working with, the people you talk to, do they have the kind of image of the future that you desire? So, this is very important because the people you talk to have a lot of influence in your life. That's the average knowledge that you carry. Do you understand what I'm saying? They influence you based on what they know, and you tend to believe and listen to them. That's your level of intelligence. The people that you relate with, that's the level of your intelligence. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why most of the time, let's say you want to start business, you want to be a business and entrepreneur. One of the things they will tell you is to find a mentor. Someone who has been in business ahead of you, who knows how to talk about investments and all the financial challenges and how to, do things. They will tell you find a mentor. As a matter of fact, in every field, you need to find a mentor. And establish a mentorship relationship. Mentorship relationship. Mentorship relationship. Jesus Christ was not only the Savior or Master, He was the teacher to the disciples. He was mentoring them. What was He doing? He was mentoring them. He was teaching them. That's mentorship, teaching. He was teaching them what to do, how to go, places to go to. He will tell them this is where to go to, and He will empower them. Mentorship is empowering. Do you understand what I'm saying? He will equip them. He will tell them these ones will not go out without prayer and fasting. He will tell them, He will show them how He will calm the storm. That's mentorship. You are seeing them they were seeing how He was doing it. Do you understand? Compared to anybody that have never seen Jesus before and then want to do what He taught disciples, it will be a little bit challenging, although it's going to be by faith. But when somebody like Paul came into the scene, what did Paul say? Paul said, everything I'm teaching you, the revelation I'm teaching you, where did he receive it from? Jesus. So he did not see Jesus physically, but he was able to encounter Jesus in the revelation, and he learned from Jesus. Do you understand that? Relationship is very important. Make the relationship you're having fit into the image of the future that you desire. I had to travel from here to Nigeria to look for a man of God that God said, go and meet this man because I want to establish a relationship with that man because the man is already where I'm going to, And for me to get there, I need to establish that relationship to connect with the mentorship of that person. Do you understand? A lot of people pay, you have to pay price for relationship. Yes. You have to do what? Pay price for relationship. You have to pay price for it. If you're going to where that guy is going to, you must be willing to go into whatever valley that person is going to. You're not going to enjoy a relationship when the person is at the top. Listen to me. Listen to me. You will not be a beneficiary of a true relationship when the person is already at the top. No. If you really want the person's life to be influenced and shape your life, you have to follow the person through the ditches and see how they go through that challenges and when they rise to the top, so that you can be sustained with that same grace that they carry. Relationship. That's why some people don't know how to maintain relationship with people that are, if you have a friend that is a millionaire now, you probably don't know how to maintain a relationship with that person. Because you've not been a millionaire before, you don't know what it takes to think like them. Do you understand what I'm saying? You have to find that person when they are moving through different phases of life. Watch them. Learn from them. So you pay a price for relationship. Do you understand what I'm saying? You see, every time we drive our 10, 11 hours to Houston, and our mentor is going to say, whoa, it takes a lot to come from this. But we are building what? Relationship. That's why we go. Every time we know he's here, we have to go there because we're building relationship. So when we have any issue or concerns and we need somebody to guide us, I can call him and say, whoa, it seems like we got ourselves into trouble. And it's okay, this is what you need to do. Sit down. Don't worry. I'll pray for you about this and this and this. Why have we established that relationship? Because that is the image of the future that I am going. Why have we established that relationship? That's the image of the future that I am going. So I have to, God has given me that relationship because it's part of the future that I'm going. Do you understand what I'm saying? This environment, location we are, is also part of the future, the assignment God has for us. So don't forget those three things. Those three things is the same thing here. Then God give us grace and time to be able to get into that future, right? But these three things are very important because now it's repeated twice. From the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every truth is established. For the Father, God has said this before, long time. Did you know that's the reason we are living in the west side of the Paso, not the east? This principle is what governs our decision. They told us it's a little bit high in the west and it's expensive here. And then in the east, it's a little bit crowded and it's really like cheaper there. Then we start thinking, okay, what life do we want to live? Do we want to just run to the cheap area, or do we want to raise our kids in a little bit, high level area? That's how we make decisions. Thoughts, relationship, and environment that describe the future you desire. What future do I desire? Live in a crowded place or just live in one place because it's cheaper? No, that's not the future I desire. So I make decision for an expensive area that has good school that I can send my kids to. Environment. Thoughts, relationship. Do you understand that? So this had been, God has taught us this before we even came here. There's more than 7 years. Now we learned this after we came here, and this is the same thing, mirror each other. 2. God is telling you can't. Your future must be established on the principles, relationship, and the location. If you get this right, then make sure this is a reflection of the image of the future you desire. Are we good? All right. If we are good, let me ask, let's move on a little bit. So, how do you apply these things that we're talking about? How do you apply this stuff? How do you apply principles, relationship, location? How do you apply it to create that future that you're going to? How do you?
just like be conscious of like each of these things, like the thoughts, like the things that you're thinking, and like your mindset, the people that you surround yourself with, and like the type of relationships that you're building, and like the places that you're going, like like where you are at that present time, and then try to orient it towards the future that you want.
Okay. All right. Good. Fine. Now, do we agree with what he said? All right. But I agree with what he said, but it's more than that. Why is it more than that? You're not just conscious, you deliberately mapped out how you can create that principles and understand that principles and see how it's applied to your life. Do you understand? Now, so I'm not just going to say I'm going to be conscious of this and this. No, no. It's good to say we're being conscious, but the approach to this is this: I have to self program. What do I want to think? I have to deliberately determine what I want to think. I have to deliberately go for a relationship that's going to support the future. Number three, I had to situate myself in the environment. I have to go and seek for it. I have to create it. I can't say I need to be conscious. No, because it's what I desire, I have to go and seek for those things. Do you understand what I'm saying? I have to seek for knowledge that really support that future. I have to seek for it. So that's what will lead me to what kind of books am I willing to spend my money on to buy books and get that knowledge. If that knowledge is coming from God, I have to be able to specifically say, how well do I want to spend time with God so to get that knowledge from Him? Do we understand what we're talking about? You have to be specific and very deliberate. It's not something that will happen just being conscious. You have to plan it and then set a routine and see that you are following it until it transforms who you are and you become that person. Yeah, you have to. You have to. Let me explain it better. 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 All right. The image of the future. So, I have the image of the future that I'm going to. I need to itemize how do I think my thought life that must align with that future. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? What is it that form the basis of how you think? What are the things that form the basis of how you think? What are the things that form the basis of how you think? The things you expose yourself to form the basis of how you think. So, I want my thoughts to mirror the image of the future. When I know that future that I'm going to, I will find something that will give me the way I have to think in alignment with that future. Do you understand? Example. My future, it's about the world will hear you. Do you understand what I'm saying? The world will hear you. What do I need for the world to hear me? By instruction, wisdom, right? So I have to find something that will make me to begin to think the thought of wisdom. The thought of wisdom. So guess what? I have to spend time in God's presence. His presence, Word of God, and then wisdom of God. These must be the foundation of how I think daily. I must understand the presence of God. I must understand the Word of God. And I must understand how the wisdom of God influences what I do daily. Because this is what mirrors. My thought must be wisdom thought. The Word of God, God's presence thought. My thought must be that. My thought must be shaped in this. My principle must be based on His presence, His Word, His wisdom. If you don't want to use thought, use principle. My principle, my knowledge, must be in this framework. So I can't just say, I'll just be conscious of what I think. No. It's not being conscious of what I think. It's being deliberate with what I'm thinking. Because what I'm thinking must be in alignment with the image of the future that I desire. So the book that I will read, the Bible and other spiritual books, of course, I know the Bible is going to be pointing me towards the things of God. Other books that I'm going to read is going to be pointing towards that future that I desire. Do you understand that? I must find materials. I must find everything. My thoughts must be shaped in that image of that future. That's what will determine if I will spend my money to go and look for things like this. If my thought is shaped by those things. If my thought is not shaped by those references, I wouldn't be able to invest my money into those things. So I will be able to invest my money to go and seek for wisdom of God, the Word of God, get to the presence of God. I will not only invest my money, I'll also invest my time, my money and my time. So once I'm investing my time, that's myself. Hello. My time is my life, right? So I have to invest my life in making sure my thoughts align with this. This will help my thought. When I spend time in the presence of God, it will help the way I think. When I spend time in the Word of God, it's going to help me the way I think. When I spend time understanding the wisdom of God, it's going to shape the way I think. When I read the Bible, it's going to shape the way I think. So these will shape, but does it look like, listen to me very well because I don't want you to be confused. Does this look like I'm a mathematician, I'm trying to postulate theory of mathematics? Does it look like I'm a physician? Does this look like I'm a chemist? Right? Does it look like that? No, this is not the material to become a chemist or a physician or mathematician. No. So if your image of the future is for you to be a mathematician, right? You're going to find the material that will change the principle of how you think. So you are going to be thinking in maths. After exposing yourself to the books of maths, the theory of maths, the postulation theory of maths calculation. Do you understand? Your thoughts must be in alignment with the future that you desire. If not, you can't create that future because you are not transformed already. It's when you are transformed that you can produce that future. Does that make sense? Okay? So, deliberate. Materials that will produce the way you think, that will change the way you think and make you to think in alignment with the future. All right, let's go fast. Then the same thing about relationship. Who do I relate with? What kind of things do I relate with? All right. If I want to watch movies, what movies do I watch? I do watch not movies. I watch something online. But I spend my time much on documentary. And what else? And then teachings. That's why I also establish a relationship with people. People that teaches a certain things that I really know my future is about, I'm going to listen to them. Every time I go on YouTube, I'm looking for them. What is the latest thing they're talking about? What are they teaching about now? I want to see what this man is saying now. I want to listen to, is this man giving a prophecy now? So I establish a virtual relationship with these individuals if I have not met them before. Do you understand? Because they are teaching things that has to do with my future. So I have a relationship with them. I don't need to know them, but I'm consuming their materials. I'm consuming their thought pattern. I'm establishing a relationship with their personality. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I don't have relationship with Taylor Swift. I don't listen to her song. I don't know one single song she sang, and she has a lot of songs because she's not the future that I desire. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't spend time on YouTube. I've never clicked to say, let me listen to 1 second in her song before because she's not the future that I desire. I'm not saying she's anything. I'm just trying to give example because she's a celebrity. But I'm just trying to tell you I'm not going to go there because that's not part of my future that I desire. I'm not going to do anything with it. I have nothing to do with that. Sometimes I want to watch some movie because I just have the feel that I also like to produce movies in the future. Do you understand what I'm saying? I just want to see the minds of the writer, the minds of the author, but write movie, not any kind of movie. Not any kind. Establish relationship, deliberate relationship. You have to seek it out. You can't just sit there and say, okay, it's just going to happen. No. If you know that future you are going to, find relationship that really validate that's a future you can go to. It doesn't have to be somebody in your school. It doesn't have to be somebody that you know. It might be somebody online. It might be people that have really done something along the line of where you're going. There are a lot of people who have done something along the line that you're going. Let me tell you this thing. Listen to this. Everybody, listen to this. Listen to this. If God said this, and I'm very serious about it, listen to this. If God said this, all right, that is a fundamental to get to the future you desire, right? If you miss it, if you're not taking any of this serious, especially relationships, some of us that say, I don't know how to have friends. I don't know how to. It's not friends, though, that God says you should have. Relationship. It may be those people's material that you have to consume all the time. Because the principle that will govern your life is part of what God has taught them, that it will not repeat from any other except from these people. So you have to find these people, establish a relationship with their material and stuff like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? You don't need to be their friend. But sooner or later, if God talk about relationship, it must be a relationship. Because you can't get to that future without having that relationship. This is number one where it's important. Your spouse must be somebody that's going to the future you are going to. Very, very important. Your spouse must be someone that is going to that same future you are going to. The Bible says, can two agree except they are one? Can two agree except they are one? If you find somebody, you start a relationship with somebody that is not going to where you are going, neither of you are going to anywhere. Do you understand? Because you guys derail each other. It's either you follow him to a wrong place and he takes you to a wrong place, or you make him to follow you to where he does not belong to in life. Are you listening to me? So you can't escape this. If God said this is important, don't say, I'll do just number one. Principle is okay. Once I understand principle, I'll get to the future. No. As a matter of fact, God will actually bring people across, in your move, because he knows you need people. You need people. We need people. I'm telling you. We need people. That's Nigerian language. You will need people. We need them. You can't get to where you're going without people. And God will bring them along your line. But you also need to know your attitude. How you relate with them is very important. We need people in life. We need people. We need them. Because some of those people are gatekeepers. Where you want to go to, they are already there. Some are already there. Some are just going to be the one to just show you how to get there. It's not only based on the wisdom that you have that will take you to where God is taking you to. Sometimes those people are important in your life. Those people are very important in your life. This morning I was thinking about relationship. And when I was reading my normal Bible in the morning, and I got to where Jacob went to the house of Laban. Laban is Jacob's uncle, right? Laban is Jacob's uncle, right? Am I right? When they got to the house of Laban. And then Laban said, well, I want you to work for me. And I'm going to pay you wages. Laban said that to this guy. He said, work for me, I'll pay you wages. And he said, what's going to be your wages? He said, okay. Jacob said, I'll work for you for 7 years so that I can marry Rachel. He worked for 7 years, and Laban gave Jacob Leah instead of Rachel. And he now said, why did you do this to me? He said, oh, in our culture, I can't marry, allow the junior to marry before the elder one because Rachel is the first, and then Leah is the first, and Rachel can't get married before Leah. So so Laban told Jacob, "You can work for me for another 7 years, and I'll give you Rachel, so you can marry two of them." And that's what happened. He now worked another 7 years before he got to marry Rachel that he actually wanted to marry from the beginning. Do you understand what I'm saying? But guess what? You know what that relationship is? Everything that Laban had multiplied because of Jacob. Everything that Laban had multiplied because of Jacob. And he knew that. He knew that. Just like because of Abraham, Lot became prosperous. Relationship. But if if you're in a relationship, you don't understand what it means. And you think, well, just like Lot said, well, I'm just going to pick wherever I want. He didn't understand that he was blessed because he was with Abraham. Because after he separated from Abraham, what was the end of Lot? Lot has nothing anymore. He went to the wrong direction. Abraham was a man of covenant, relationship. If Lot has knew that, he will have followed Abraham. But he separated from Abraham. When he separated from Abraham, he picked the wrong place. He went to stay in Sodom and Gomorrah. What happened to him? The Bible says he was a righteous man that was living in a place whereby his soul was being tormented day and night by the things which he saw and the things which he heard. His soul was tormented that his daughters become what? They become perverted, that they started sleeping with their father. Are you listening to me? Relationship. And sometimes God will bring you along those people that will take you to where you have to go to. Relationship. It's one of the fundamentals to the future you desire. When you meet the right people, you need to be very sensitive. Lord, is this one of those people that are part of my future? Don't just meet everybody like, no. Just be very careful. Lord, is this part of this people, part of the people that are my future? Concerning our ministry, God told us about 3 kinds of people He will give us. If you remember, God said, I'll give you people of people of what? No. Yeah, you said it, but that's not the way He said it. He said, I'll bring you men of high integrity first. You are right with caliber. High integrity. Then number 2 is what? Great unction. Number 3 is what? Great caliber. Great caliber. That's relationship. God said, I'll bring you those men. I will give you those men to work with you. High integrity is the first thing. And number 2, he said, men of great unction and men of what? Great caliber. He will bring us those men. Do we understand that? Okay. So you need this. This is the aspect that I want you to focus on. You have to get books that will help you to, what is this going to do for you? The way you think is the first thing you have to deal with. The way you think is the first main thing you have to deal with. Until your thinking can align with the future you desire, there's no future. Do you understand what I'm saying? The way you think. The way you think. Then the relationship. The way you think also will determine the principles. That's the principles that you live by. What principle? Let me tell you guys something. It's very clear. If you're going there, by now you already know where you're going to, by how you live your life daily. By now you should be able to, I think I understand where I'm going to, by what surrounds your life. And you should be able to have a kind of like mini picture of, I think my life is going to be around this, like this. Do you understand that? But don't forget, we have to think in line with our future. All right? Let's move to the other thing I want to show you guys. All right, let me show you this. when you make decision for the future that you're going to, the spiritual, mental, material. Under the material, you have assets, things you want to have, right? And then your finances too, money that you need. Money. And the mental things you want to achieve mentally, like your education, right? Your education, or maybe, different kind of things. You want to write books or whatever other things. And spiritual, whatever God is asking you to do, God's calling in your life, and your relationship with God. Your relationship with God. You can divide that future that you're looking forward to into those three. And one thing that I want you to understand, I've read what you sent as the image of future. It's only two that I've not read. And I think we're going to continue tomorrow. And one thing I want us to understand is this. Everybody is, I like everything we have written spiritual. We are right about spiritual. Some of us are right about this. But this need to be very clear. You know how God was telling me that I'm not clear? You know how God was telling me that I'm not clear about what I want for wealth, right? But he said, but when I saw the sign of Wells Fargo, I saw the Wells Fargo. God said, I said, that's like the billboard that I want us to have in the future. And God said, hey, you know that one because you're really clear about that one. You remember, just like we talk about principle today. Huh? Yeah. So it has to be very clear, very detailed. So when I say assets, what am I? I'm going to have buildings that I'm going to have a manufacturing company. I'm going to have this and this. You have to be very clear. So that when you see it, you can really know this is exactly what I'm talking about. You have to break it down into the smallest unit that you can identify with. Because once you can break it down, that's when you can really, your thoughts can really be shaped based on this thing. If you say, I just want to have assets, there are billions of assets. The thought is not clear about what are you talking about assets. But if I say, I want to have a building, 2 buildings in Florida, 5 buildings in Hawaii, and 2 buildings in Texas, that's a very clear thought. Do you understand? You already say 7 buildings. I want to build schools in Texas. I want to build schools in Nigeria. I want to build schools in Togo. That's very clear. Okay, the school that I want to build is going to be a school that caters for this and this and this and this. Because the image of the future you are going to is a piece and piece of the thought that you think, right? So it has to be clear. Do you understand what I'm saying? It has to be very clear. So you have to write it in a very clear terms. This one you might not put, I just want to have 2 billion. You might not say that. It's not necessarily say 2 billion. But when you say money, you have to be able to say, okay, what kind of money are you looking for? All right, money that is like maybe money that can feed 2 people. Is that the money you're looking for? I said, Lord, I'm going to really have a lot of money. I'm talking about money for investment, money for. So at the end of the day, each time I've invested on everything, I'm looking at my position in nations as a wealthy person. I'll probably be among the 1% of people controlling wealth and riches in the nation. Do you understand what I'm saying? You are very clear. You know what is the measure of that wealth you are looking for. You're not just saying, I want to have money. Everybody have money. If you have $2, you have money, right? But when you said, I want to have money that among the 1% that are controlling wealth, you've already have a clear picture. Because that 1% might only be like 25 people out of 8 billion people. That's a clear picture. And you really know. 25 people. I want to be among the 25 people that are really influencing move of money in them. And then that's when you will now begin to ask yourself, okay, so if my future is going here. First of all, you identify. In this position of 1% of people controlling money, there are only 25 people in the world. That's what we now say, who are these 25 people? You now discover that out of those 25 people that are controlling money in the world, okay, 7 of them are into entertainment. Maybe 6 of them are into manufacturing. Maybe 3 of them are into, and then you begin to see the pathway to this world. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because you're taking your time to break things down. And you can see how they get to that place where you are aspiring to be. And then your thought pattern, you begin to look at what principle did they use, what principle that brought them there. And you now say, okay, I see what they do. I need to go into that path of what they did. Does that make sense to you? But you can't just say, I want to have money. Everybody say, I want to have money. How do I get the money? What do I do to get that money? How do I move to the place of that money? What is required for me to make that money? Do you understand? The question we ask is what drives the knowledge that we receive. And the knowledge that we receive shows us the possibilities that is ahead of us. These things are practical. They're not just theoretical. They're practical. We have to move. We have to move. That's why we have to, first of all, get it clear. What is the image of that future? Our thinking must... Now we have to get books that talks about the future. You have to get books. You have to, this and that. I have to get books. If I'm going on business, if I want to be, my life is about business, I have to get books on business. That's why when you come to my library, the majority of the books there are books about the Christianity, believers, and then growth and development and stuff like that. Because that's the future that I'm going to. That's the future that I'm going to. So that's what I'm going to spend my money. That's where my thinking is going to. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do we understand that? All right. I think we should stop here today so we can have a rest of our weekend. And I want us to spend more time to work on the image of the future. I want us to, yes? Yes, so the image of the future that you're looking to, you want to divide it into 3. The spiritual thing. Whatever God is telling you, your relationship with God, you say, okay, I want to do the will of God. Yeah? That's the priority. I want to do the will of God. I want to serve God with all of my heart. I want to bring people to God. That's your spiritual priority about the future you're going to. So you start thinking along that line, studying the Bible and praying, spending time with God on how to equip yourself to do those spiritual things, right? Then you go to the mental things. Oh, I want to have a PhD. All right, that's a mental one. I want to have a PhD. Or every other thing that doesn't fall under spiritual will come to the mental stuff. Because when you understand if it's spiritual or mental or material, you can understand what do I need to do to get there. Does it make sense? Okay, so then when material is something that you don't get material things as in just jump into material things. You have to create the mental picture of the material things and resource for it and then create the material stuff. So you have to know, but you have to have the picture of the material things. There's no way you want to say, okay, I want to have 5 houses. You have to know the mental way to get to that 5 houses. So am I building them? Am I buying them? Am I renting them? Am I whatever? So the mental must be sound. So, but these are, okay, I want to create business. We want to create business. That's mental, right? But it doesn't mean the spiritual is not there too, because everything is connected. But it just make it easy, like you categorize it into 3 places, all right? So you just say that most 3 things that I want to, because now when you categorize this into 3 places, you now say, okay, my spiritual goal for this year, I will take the first one. I want to be in the will of God. Number 1. So this year, I have 6 spiritual goals that I want to fulfill. I have 6 mental goals. I have 10 material goals that I want to fulfill in my life, in the future that I'm going to. That's 12 plus 10. 22 things item in my future. But this year, I can't do everything. I'll pick number 1 of my spiritual goal, number 1 of my mental goal, and 2 of my material goal. That's what I want to focus on this year. That's what I want to do, what? Focus on this year. So I'll break it down. What do I need to fulfill the calling? What do I need to get my PhD this year? Prepare for it. What do I need to get to? Maybe 2 building is what I want to get this year. What do I need to do to get 2 building this year? And I'll start from that. Once you can accomplish that, then you can repeat the same thing here, repeat the same thing here until you fully get to the fullness of everything. Do you understand what I'm saying? We will get there in Jesus' name. Let's rise up on our feet.